Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So we got some updates. Let's talk about them. Remember, this Saturday is the big giveaway, March 2nd, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/rounded TikTak. We're going to be giving away Sunbeam, weapons, Bright Core, Moonglow, Spectralite. We have it all. We're going to be giving it away to you guys as a thank you for 10K subs. So make sure to clear your calendars and come on by. Also, today should be the day that we get the dev update for the hero rework, so keep on a lookout on my channel for a video coming up later today about that. If it's video worthy, if there's enough information there to make hypotheses and other things about what might be going on, we're going to be doing that as well. But today, for this video right here, we're going to be showing you my traps, exactly how to roll them, why I have the rolls on my traps like I do. I get this question constantly in my comment section on my videos. Hey TikTak, how do you roll this? How do you roll that? What's the best roll on this? Etc, etc. So I bit the bullet and I'm just going to show you guys every single trap in the game, starting with the top 5 traps that are in the game, to show you exactly how to roll them, why you should roll them this way, and how effective they can be. There is a discrepancy here. Some of the traps are rolled for Fortnite 128 specifically, but we're going to go over that as well and show you the differences and why you might want to change them or keep them that way. Any way you roll a trap, they're going to be effective, but for you min-maxers out there, this video is for you. Let's talk about the best weapon in the game. It's not a shotgun, it's not a pistol, it's not an assault rifle, it's this right here. The poison gas trap is the best weapon in the entire game. It does the most damage, it's the most reliable. You can use it to spawn trap, you can use it to kill everything. It gets you through the harder content in the game every single time. Old, reliable, kind of expensive to build, but it does its job well. So if you're curious about what traps to level up if you're new to the game, always do this one first. It'll carry you throughout the entire game. Let's take a look at the rolls here. It's guaranteed physical, you can't change that. And then I roll it like this. This is one of those traps that is specific for Fortnite 128. 30 damage, 42 reload speed, 30 critical rating, 135 crit damage, and then durability. However, if you do not want to have that durability roll, if you're not using it for Fortnite, make sure to put effect duration on it. So just know that ceiling gas traps are the best thing in the game, period. Best weapon, best trap, best everything. There's nothing that beats them. My favorite thing to do, a little tip, is to put a gas trap and then a ceiling zapper. The gas trap kills all the little stuff, and then if anything big makes it through, like a smasher, the ceiling zapper should use it on that. And the ceiling zapper is probably the hardest hitting trap in the game, at least for single target damage, so it works out pretty well. Next up, let's talk about the floor launchers. Floor launchers can be rolled multiple ways, but these are again rolled, at least in this video, for Fortnite 128 with 15% impact and knockback with 1 durability on them. You do not need this 100%. I would probably recommend 1 reload speed in here somewhere for normal missions. These again were rolled for 128 Fortnite, and they do percentage damage, so it knocks up a smasher. When they land, they take damage. They go up 3.5 tiles. That's the knockback, so 3500 is 3.5 tiles. They go up 3.5 tiles high and then land for a percentage damage. Now let's take a look at wall launchers. Wall launchers are a little different. You do not need to shoot them back 3.5 tiles. There's nowhere in the game that you need them to go that far unless you're doing very specific cliff building. However, 42% reload speed, a durability, another reload speed, 2.5 tiles is what you're shooting for the wall launchers. That's about how far you're going to need them to go to use them in any kind of trap tunnel that you can think of. Something like a timeout box, which we haven't covered on this channel yet, but we're going to. A timeout box, or the new tunnel that everybody seems to like a lot with the zigzag floors. 2.5 tiles is what you're looking for on the wall launchers. So now we've covered the gas traps, the wall pushers, the floor launchers. There's 2 more traps that are key to this game that are probably core, I would say, to completing the harder missions in the game. You can't make a video about traps without talking about wooden floor spikes. Now, understand what wooden floor spikes do. They do damage, but that's not the main point of them. They slow and snare, so any enemy that walks on them will get damaged and then get slowed down for, I think it's 1.25 tiles after the tile the trap is on. So you technically, if you're min-maxing, it's one floor spike and then a damaging floor trap as well. However, you can just put these all down your trap tunnel and it'll be perfectly fine. The snare affects the little tiny husks that leap at you. They cannot leap at you if they are on these floor spikes. I rolled them like this: crit rating, crit damage, crit rating, durability. One of those crit ratings you could probably change to damage if you're completely min-maxing, but rolls like this are fine. That sixth slot rather, is the plus 17 increased building health or whatever. I would just put durability on most of them. It really doesn't help, and I've never had it save me in a mission or save the tunnel itself. Remember, these do damage, but that's not the point of them. You're really just using them to slow down husks to get hit by your harder hitting traps. If you put these in front of a wall launcher, they're almost guaranteed to get hit by the wall launcher instead of walking right by them. The last core item, which is probably the most underrated trap in the game, is wall lights, or are wall lights. They are amazing. With a 2.5 second stun time in a game where it's not really about defeating the enemies, but not letting them get to your base in a certain amount of time, 2.5 seconds on a pack of mobs is fantastic. Not a lot of people use these, and they should. This is how I have these rolled: 3 impact, 2 reload, and an effect duration. This one in particular, you want to keep that effect duration. There's nothing in the game, at least the main base game, that is going to burn out all your traps. Yes, you might lose 1 or 2 here or there, but it's never going to destroy your tunnels, and you can easily just add another one. Definitely keep the effect duration on this. A 2.5 second stun is nothing to scoff at, and it's very viable in this game. Not a lot of people use these, and I think they definitely need more exposure. These traps are fantastic, and you can use them in every single kind of tunnel you can think of. Replace them where you usually put wall dynamos or wall darts or anything like that. But these are the top 5 traps, at least in the game, that I call core. Let's go into the other traps in the game and when you can actually use them, specifically how they are used, what they're supposed to do, what they actually do. Let's get into all of that. We're going to go over the last couple of traps right now. I made a small mistake. I completely forgot about the wall dynamos, and I can't believe I did. They are probably one of my favorite traps in the game. One of the first ones that I completely perked up, and my bad, apologies. Include this in the top 5 traps. This one is absolutely core. It's the best wall trap damaging wise in the game. It is the brother to the wall version of the ceiling zapper. Don't pay attention to those numbers on the right. They are not correct. This trap hits like a truck. So once again, crit rating, double crit damage, and an extra damage thrown in for good measure. They are nature guaranteed. So on water waves, you're always going to want to build these. They do a ridiculous amount of damage, and on top of that, they have a 0.5 second stun. It's the best of both worlds. This trap should 100% be on the core list. Just the way the video is edited, it's impossible for me to fix that. Just trust me, use these dynamos. They are great. Okay, let's talk about the ceiling zapper, my new favorite trap, by the way. But first, let's talk about the statistics on the left hand of the screen. They're not always right. For example, here we see 14,000 damage for a critical hit shot. That's a lie. It hits more like 153 to 156,000. It's mandatory nature, and I always exaggerate the strengths of the trap. So this being a hard-hitting single target DPS trap, I'm going to try to get it to hit as hard as possible. So we have 2 crit damage, 1 crit rating, 1 base damage, and a durability thrown on here. This trap does a lot of work. However, the issue with it, why people don't like it, is because it always procs on the little guys. At a 12-second reload, if this procs on a husk with less than 20,000 health, it's kind of useless. However, recently I found, and this is kind of common sense, took me a while to figure this out, if you put a gas trap in front, like I said earlier in the video, the ceiling zappers have a much higher chance to proc on a big guy coming through because the gas trap has killed all the small stuff. This is actually my new favorite tunnel. As you can see in the video right here, I really enjoy this one. This trap is a lot of fun, but it's definitely not core. Now let's talk about the ceiling zapper's counterpart, the ceiling electric field. This trap is unique because it does a 3x3 tile. So basically imagine lightning tendrils reaching out in a 3x3 tile around the trap. So it becomes an AoE trap with decent damage. It's not a bad trap by any means. It's just kind of expensive to make and not very necessary. Gas traps in any situation are just as good. The only way this thing gets a benefit is if you're on a water wave, because it is in fact always nature damage. Again, you're going to want to make this thing crit chance, crit damage, and maybe throw a reload speed on there, although it does have a lower reload speed comparatively. It's a decent trap. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but it's just not for me. And I didn't even level mine up past 82. Nothing wrong with it. Once again, it's just definitely not core. You could try something specific like a spawn trap build where it's all reload speed and damage. That might work for you. If you have some extra perk up and you want to try that out, give it a try. It might be decent, and maybe I'm mistaken. It's not, once again, last time, it's not bad, just not for me. The video is getting kind of long. I want to get this over with. These last couple of traps, I never use them. I never ever really use these traps. We're going to go over them real fast for you guys just to get all of them done. Retractable floor spikes. Are they usable? Sure. Are they worth it? Not really. They just don't do enough damage that floor spikes combined with gas traps don't provide for you. The slow increases the DPS from the gas traps, which leads to just more base damage for more husks without a long reload speed on the floor spikes to slow them again. Can you use them? Yes, but all of these traps coming up all have huge negatives with them. This one in particular is that it's a physical trap. So even if you're fighting any kind of elemental wave, water, nature, fire, doesn't matter, it's only going to be doing 50% damage. Period. So you're going to be losing out on a lot of stuff. Endgame combines a lot of elemental husks. Using these, you're only going to be doing 50% of what you can be doing. There's other traps that you can use specifically for what kind of wave you're fighting. These I just do not use. I prefer floor launchers or slow spikes, or even just cutting the tile in half. Any one of those is better in my opinion. Next up, we have the wall darts. This trap is interesting. It's not terrible. It does something unique that no other trap does, and that is shoot 3 to 4 tiles away from the husks. However, they are projectiles, so a husk can walk out of it. The trap can get triggered and the husk will be out of the range of the trap by the time the arrows make it to them. Again, this trap is 100% physical, allowing a lot of lost damage, a lot of lost DPS. They can work in certain situations where you build kind of a courtyard and put them all across the walls. There's a certain SSD in Twine Peaks that it works really well for, but besides those couple of niche uses, I don't really use these. In Frostnite 128, I use them when I just had a bunch of extra materials, but never really are these my go-to traps. Almost like every other trap, you're going to want to do crit chance, crit damage, because when they do hit, if they do hit, you're going to want them to hit as hard as you can. A fantastic trap? No. Has a little bit of a niche? Yeah, but I still would pass up on these. If you're hurting for perk up and you're not sure which traps to level up, these last couple ones are definitely not the first to go. These last 3 traps, surprisingly, are the 3 newest traps that we have. Granted, they're all over a year old, but they are the newest traps we have, and they are all bad. Don't level them up, pass up all of these. First up, the ceiling tire trap. It's terrible. It's supposed to slow down husks, it does not. It's supposed to do damage, it does not. There's only 1 or 2 reasons to ever use this trap. Number 1, if you're expecting a lot of propanes. An SSD where you know you're going to get a lot of propanes, you can use these to kind of slow down the husks, allowing you to shoot more and do a little more DPS. Or if you're expecting a lot of propanes, they do drop from up to 3 tiles high. That's it. Those are the only useful situations. There's one more where you can do if the husks have to walk up a natural ramp, a natural ramp, and you can use these to slow them down slightly. They're supposed to do damage. They don't. I mean, they can, but they have to hit it at a certain angle. Do not level these up. Next up, the floor freeze trap. Again, a trap that should have a lot more viability, but doesn't because it has a very huge negative to it. 1, it does no damage whatsoever. Even the floor spikes do a little bit, but this one just does none. All it does is slow down and freeze the husks, which would be fine, but the issue then becomes what happens to propanes. If enough enemies are stuck and frozen in a tunnel and a propane decides to walk by, it will self-detonate, ruining your tunnel, ruining your trap tunnel, and just kind of making it pointless to use. The last trap, guys, is the flame grill trap, and I'm not going to cover that. I already ranted about it in another video. It's useless. Do not level it up. It's terrible. It has a small niche with a super long reload speed. Just don't level it up. And that's really it, guys. Those are all the traps I could possibly cover in a appropriate amount of time. I believe this video is getting a little long here, so I think we're going to wrap it up. So there it is, every single trap in the game covered, what kind of rolls you should put on them, when to use them, how to use them, what they do and what they're supposed to do, and are they worth leveling up. There's definitely a core 4, 5, 6 traps that you're going to want to use most of the time, that being gas traps, wall pushers, floor pushers, slow spikes, and dynamos and wall lights. So there's 6 of them. Those are my core traps. I showed you how to roll them. I showed you where to put them, how to place them, how to use them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of how to roll the traps. It's not very hard. You can put any kind of roll you want on the trap to try different niche builds, and they will work fine for you. The only discrepancy is if you're doing something like Fortnite 128, where you're gonna need that durability roll occasionally. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, leave them down in the comments below. I will get back to them. Remember, this Saturday, huge giveaway on my Twitch, twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. I hope to see you there. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. TikTak out.